From New York City, this is Entertainment Weekly, the show. This week, we quack up with Ben Schwartz, read 'em and beep with Matt Walsh, and spread some love with Julie Klausner. Plus, the latest Entertainment Weekly cover is all about Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and actress Laura Dern takes us to a galaxy far, far away. Yes, the Force is strong in this one, people, because the show starts now. Welcome to the show. It's been a busy week in entertainment, so let's get to some headlines, shall we? It was just announced that David Letterman is returning to TV in a new Netflix series. At last, there'll be an older male voice on television. The celebrated broadcaster has only made sporadic appearances since leaving CBS's Late Show in 2015. Since then, he's just been chilling at home, which of course explains why he turned to Netflix. Netflix and chill? Got it? Got it. All right. Sources say the new series will feature in-depth interviews and field segments. His first investigative report will be called "Who Wants to Talk to a Guy with a Massive Scary Beard?" I think it's cute. All right. MGM is facing a lawsuit over a box set which claimed to have included every single James Bond film. But it turned out the set was missing 1967's Casino Royale and 1983's Never Say Never Again. Now, I don't know what's worse for Bond fans, that these movies won't be included or that Die Another Day will be included. Even though those two films feature the character James Bond, they are not considered part of the official series canon. Why, you ask? Well, because the original Casino Royale was a comedy with David Niven and Woody Allen, who instead of having a license to kill, had a license to be Woody Allen. And Never Say Never Again was a movie Sean Connery made out of spite after feeling he was shortchanged by the franchise producers. It was the biggest shot Connery gave anyone since this guy. As you know, Star Wars: The Last Jedi is gracing the cover of EW's fall movie preview. Fans are hungrier for hints about this movie than that Exegorth was for the Millennium Falcon. In EW's cover story, we found out Chewie befriends the gopher from Caddyshack. A bunch of turtles find the Lord. And apparently, with Kylo Ren's dad gone, there's no one to teach him how to shave. Now, since we wanted more info about Episode 8, we caught up with the amazing actress Laura Dern, who appears in the film. And naturally, we tried to get as many spoilers as possible from her. Take a look.
Hey, I'm Laura Dern from the upcoming film Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Fans are dying for spoilers about this movie. Unfortunately, I can't share any. But what I can do is tell you fake plot twists that definitely won't be in Episode 8 in a segment called Fake Spoilers. It opens on Rey holding out Luke's old lightsaber out to him. After a long pause, Luke goes, "Nah, I'm good." In this one, the scrolling text at the beginning is made up entirely of emojis. To make the movie more acceptable for audiences, the X-Wings will now be replaced by NC-17 wings. You find out that not only is Kylo Ren the son of Han Solo, he's also the cousin of Ren from Ren and Stimpy. Mario Batali makes a cameo. Very exciting. Yeah, he's doing a morning cooking show for Wookiees called the Chewbacca. To find out what really happens in The Last Jedi, you'll just have to wait until this Christmas. I'm sure you'll learn.
Thanks, Laura. Any Star Wars news is fine by us, even if it's fake news. We'll be right back with more show. I'm here with Ben Schwartz, star of the new Disney reboot of DuckTales. Welcome back.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you?
Oh.
So good
I
to
am
see
double
you.
parked. I have to head out.
How will the reboot be different from the original?
I think what they did is they took aspects of the comic book. There's a comic book by a gentleman named Carl Barks, and they took that and mixed it with the 30-year-old anniversary of DuckTales, so that old show, and they put it together. And I think what makes it unique is that all the nephews have personalities. In the old show, they were played by one person. In ours, it's Danny Pudi, plays Huey. I play Dewey, and then Louie is Bobby Moynihan. and they all have these different personalities, and then Scrooge is played by the great David Tennant. Yes. Kate Micucci played a character named Webigail, which in the old series was kind of a passive character, and now is like this feminist icon woman who is like wants to jump at adventure and be a part of the team. And then Lin-Manuel Miranda's in it.
Did you watch DuckTales as a child?
I did. I loved it. I came home, Jose and David Fernandez. We'd get mac and cheese before I was lactose intolerant. We would eat it, and we would watch the Disney afternoon from DuckTales, from Gummy Bears, all the way through whatever the last one was, which is sometimes gargoyles or things like that. I loved it. And DuckTales to me was always so exciting. When I was a kid, I had a pretty big imagination, and I feel like this fueled my imagination so well.
And to be clear, you play Dewey, not
I
Huey,
played Dewey.
not Louie.
Correct.
Dewey is the beloved middle child.
Oh my goodness. Yes. So they're triplets, but we're saying Huey was born first, then Dewey, then Louie.
Can you bring Dewey to life right now? And then
Sure.
can you go back to singing the DuckTales theme song, please?
Dewey is very excited. What do you want me to say as Dewey?
I want you to say, I love this interview. It's the best one I had all day.
Oh, I love this interview. It's the best one I've had all day. And then what do you want me to do?
Lola is amazing.
Oh, this is just personal gratification for you.
Yep.
Lola is amazing. There it is,
Love it.
guys.
So in past interviews, you've spoken about feeling like you constantly needed to work because you were afraid if you stopped working that the work might not flow in.
Okay.
Now, have you slowed down in recent years?
I think that is a thing that kind of drives me. The anxiety, maybe you feel this as well. I don't know, people in this field. It's the idea of like, you don't know where your next project is coming from, so I try to kind of keep my hands in all the different pots of things that I can be creative in and hope that it works. But I'm trying to be better at like taking a little break, whether it's from writing or producing or directing, to take a break and like live a life. Because what I've learned is my creativity seems to slow down unless I have things to write off of, like real life things to write off of.
When you're having those real life experiences, do you find yourself looking at them as potential subject opportunities?
Great question. I don't, because then I don't get to enjoy it. It's like when I first started doing film, I would watch a movie and be like, okay, all right, so they're using a single here and and then it ruins the whole experience of that as opposed to just let yourself enjoy it and stuff like that. So that's kind of like what I do also.
Speaking of enjoy, you seem to really enjoy yourself on the set of Parks and Recs. Talk to
Oh,
me
yeah.
about that experience. The show is beloved.
I miss that show very, very much. I feel like that was like the show where I got to be. If you watch that show now, and you watch my character from the beginning to the end, you slowly see a human being turn into a cartoon character. Like I turn into a Jewish Muppet by the end of it. So it's like watching that little, and you kind of get to see me get more comfortable and comfortable with the role and kind of go crazy with it. I love the freedom they gave, and also they had the funniest writing staff in the universe, and so I miss that show very much. And I think right now in the climate of what's happening, to have a show like that would be so fun and exciting, and like it's so. No matter what, Leslie Knope was the optimist. She's always an optimist, and no matter what was happening, she would. So I love the idea of that type of character in that world.
And your character's hair.
Yeah, I grew out my hair every time we did it. There's an episode where I got blonde highlights, but we didn't air. It was supposed to be the first episode of the last season, and my intro is I come in a wheelchair with these blonde highlights. And we filmed it, and then Mike Schur was like, "It's just too crazy. It just doesn't. It's just too crazy." They're like, "We haven't seen your character. It's supposed to be the future, and the first thing someone sees is you rolling in on a wheelchair, getting out of the wheelchair, saying hi. I only use this to cut the line at Six Flags, and it's so intense." So we reshot it for a different episode.
How do you manage this mane of yours?
Okay, it's like a 17-hour process. I wake up and I put the bottom of my head in a toilet bowl and let it soak for like, what do you say, probably 12 hours. And then I get out, I look at myself in the mirror, and I give my hair positive affirmations for like 2 more hours.
What do you say to your hair?
You can do it. Today's a good day for you. Dear Evan Hansen, these are the reasons why today's going to be good and why. And I'll really push it towards there. And then it's insane. People go, "What product do you use?" I don't use anything because the affirmations make my hair go up and stick in a certain way. And also, there's feces in the bathroom, so I think that helps as well. But it's like, it gets there, and then I look at myself, and I won't even say it. I know when I'm done with my hair goes, "Let's go get them."
You have a new book coming out
Hey!
called I Want to Get This Right. Things you should already know about dating, you idiot.
That was amazing. Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, of
Amazing.
course.
Comes out in October.
Okay.
It's like 100 tips about dating. The whole idea of what we're saying is that the culture now is like you just use your thumb words. Nobody knows how to talk as a human being in front of people anymore.
Right.
And it's a comedic way of getting these things out and learning the things you should already know, like walk a girl to her car, or what do you do with the first date? How do you pay? Okay, you're moving in together. What does this mean? I'm excited for people to read it because I think the dating culture is flawed in some ways, as you don't know. And so the idea of what this represents or stuff like that, I think will hit people and make people be like, oh my goodness, I know exactly what they're talking about.
You know who has been incredible? You, my friend.
No, come on.
Thank you for being
Oh,
here.
thank you for being a friend.
The Schwartz was with us.
Oh, nice sign off. That's how you sign off every episode, right?
Yes, that is how I sign off.
I'm just happy that it worked for me.
We also sign off in song. Ready?
Go, what song?
Life is like
A
a
hurricane
hurricane.
here in Duckburg.
I'm here with a tremendous actress from Survivor's Remorse, Tichina Arnold.
It's me!
Welcome, Tichina.
Thank you.
So happy to have you here. Now, your show returns for a 4th season in just a few weeks.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you could get me up to speed on who's who by breaking down the Calloway family tree.
Ooh.
Can you do
okay.
it?
Yes, of course I can.
Go for it.
Okay, Cam Calloway. He's sweet, he's loving, he's my son. He is a great guy, and his heart is pure. Cassie Calloway, myself, not so pure. She's been around the world a few times, but she's a sharpshooter, straight shooter. You know what you're getting.
And she's got a billionaire man.
Oh yeah, she's got a billionaire man. You can't tell her anything. Reggie Vaughn is my nephew, and he's learning to be cunning. He's learning to be very shrewd, very cunning, and he's thinking all the time. So he's that guy to look out for.
Hey.
Mary Charles M. Chuck Calloway, my daughter, my lesbian daughter. My lesbian daughter has a good heart and she means well, but God knows she is the bane of my existence. She starts trouble and she ends it. Let's just say that. But she's a good girl. She wants to be a good girl.
She's a good girl. She's got that weird Boston accent.
Yes, she got the Boston accent. And Missy Vaughn, which is Reggie's wife, my lovely, I guess my daughter, cousin-in-law, I guess you would call her. But she's sweet, somebody to watch out for as well, because she's also very cunning. So I think that's why she and Reggie are a good match and a good pair, but very conscious about her black femalehood and her black womanhood. And she's definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. And Allison Pierce, my little Care Bear, my son's girlfriend now. Well, I don't know if I could say what. Yeah, I can't give away.
Give it away.
No, I don't know. You almost gave it away.
Give it
no,
away.
You almost got me, Lola.
Me?
You almost got me.
No, never. Give it away.
She's sweet. I think there's a lot more about Allison we need to know. And I think there is a lot more about Allison that we will find out about. But not bad things. It might not be bad. But yeah, she's toughening up by being around the Calloway family. Let's just say that.
Do they get married?
I'm not saying, Lola.
Okay.
Didn't I just tell you? I'm not saying it.
All right. I'm afraid.
Lola, you're good though. You
I'm
almost got
trying.
me.
Thanks so
Thank
much for
you.
being here.
Thank
Survivor's
you.
Remorse returns to stars on August 20th. And speaking of irresistible shows, Veep star Matt Walsh stopped by recently to take a look at some of his past projects, and his stories were nothing short of presidential. Check it out.
Hey there, I'm Matt Walsh, and I've been in a lot of cool projects over the years, and I'm going to tell you about some of them in a little segment we like to call A Walsh Down Memory Lane. Upright Citizens Brigade, wow. Well, that's a TV show from the 90s. I came out of a sketch group from Chicago, drove out in a van, bunch of props, me, Matt Besser, Ian Roberts, Amy Poehler. It was like literally Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland putting on a show with string in a barn, you know? Just, we didn't have a lot of money, but we did the most ambitious days and the most ambitious things, and all of our friends were willing to work for nothing. One of my favorite things to do was the Time Machine and Albert Einstein. Those were two of the things that I really enjoyed doing. And the Scared Straight episode. That was another great one. Martin and Orloff, the first film I ever wrote. I wrote it with Ian Roberts, and we put everyone in it. Matt and Amy are in it.
Suicide.
What?
I was there for suicide.
Attempted suicide. It's a big difference.
I remember there was one guy who played Jimbo, was part of the full-blooded Italians from the World Wrestling League, and his name was Sal. And that was kind of neat to see this like 350-pound man on set, and we would literally put 2 apple boxes together and tape them together and then just put a giant fan by him because he was just like enormous. Dog Bites Man was an improvised show on Comedy Central for 1 season, and we were a fake news team traveling the United States, antagonizing very nice people.
Where's the party? You guys want a drink?
No! We'll see ya!
Why?
Let's go!
Drove around in this big news van, and we would get out and act like idiots, and then people in the real world are like, what's going on? So it was a very aggressive prank show, but a tremendous cast. Zach Galifianakis, 80 Miles, Andrea Savage. Really good memories from that show, really nice people. I don't get booked to do a lot of love scenes.
With me, we have been always far.
So Anne Heche was very kind, and we started talking. She's like, here, we're gonna do this. And I'm like, what's that? She's like, oh, you haven't had a love pillow? I'm like, no. She explained it. So she kind of handed down the tradition of the love pillow, and so I have since used the love pillow in other scenes. Not that one, but the practice of the love pillow. I'm not always credited as Walsh, but in The Hangover, I'm Walsh with a V.
Tuck it right in there. I don't want to re-sterilize.
But in Old School, I'm Walsh, and then I think in Scoundrels, I am Walsh. Placeholder, they would just put Walsh in there, and then I think they just said, you know what, let's just call him Walsh. So they were lazy about it. And in Elf, I'm also credited as Matt Walsh because my friend Kent Alterman was a producer on that film. Ghostbusters was sort of like walking into an item in the Smithsonian because people love Ghostbusters.
2.
No,
To the 1.
just sit quietly.
So you were walking into this precious property. So it was very interesting to step into such a high-profile project. And the thing I remember about that is we spent like 2 days on that dance scene, which is in the final credits. We spent like a week of rehearsal. It was almost like So You Think You Can Dance competition. It was really intense. Well, Veep was a script that was sent to me by my agent because Armando Iannucci wrote it, and he's someone who I love. He created like Alan Partridge and a bunch of great British comedies and the film In the Loop, so I was really excited to do it.
Are you kidding me with this?
Ma'am, it's the only sunscreen I could find
You
here.
look like the world's least gay chef.
Literally in my second audition, I was in the room with Julia because they wanted to see chemistry, and fortunately for me, we had chemistry, and she was really funny and very loose and smart, so I was able to improvise with her, which helped me feel comfortable. And it's gone on 6 seasons, and it's ridiculous that it's been that many years, and it's ridiculous that so many people like it. If you like Seeing This Face, which of course you do, then watch Veep, Sundays at 10:30 on HBO.
Welcome back to the show. Now, back in the day, TV shows had a theme song. That was the main tune you associated with that series. But as shows have stepped it up in recent years for this golden age of television, music's done the same. Now more than ever, music has become like another character within shows, establishing mood and authenticity. I'm here with composer, songwriter, and singer Craig Wedren, president and creative director of Amber Music, Michelle Curran, and composer for film, multimedia, and concert projects, Peter Lobo. Guys, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having
So
me.
we hear all the time about the golden age of television. How has it impacted the television music industry? Where shall we start? Craig, you start.
Oh, man. Well, I started working in TV basically when this alleged golden age began, so I'm not really sure because I've been in it, but it definitely feels chaotic and like there's more content than it seems like it should be able to handle. Mm-hmm. But it keeps growing, so I'm really kind of blown away by it.
And I'm assuming happy.
Very happy.
Very happy.
Yeah, very happy.
So your bank account.
Yeah,
right?
my wife and child are very happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Michelle, what's been your experience?
Well, I work mainly in commercials,
Right.
but as commercials, and it's now moving in a longer format, or starting to become more like TV shows in a way. And I think that commercials have definitely stepped away from what was like the jingle and thing to having pieces of music. I mean, they license much more. When I first came into the business, when I was working actually on the record business side, nobody wanted to license their tracks on commercials. It was thought and deemed as a kind of lowly thing. But now I think with as it becomes harder for bands to break, the easiest way to do it is to do through the realms of TV, either having a track on a well-known TV program or having a track on a well-known branded commercial.
Peter, has that been your experience? Have you observed something similar?
Absolutely. Music production is huge, and people work for different publishers these days, and that's why we have so many different types of music and different shows, because a lot of young musicians are able to actually support films and TV and all types of shows, so that's very good.
Are each of you finding that you're busier now than ever because of peak TV being at its peak?
I'm busier now than ever, for sure. And I wonder.
You look happy
super
and
happy.
nervous about that as well.
Well, yeah, it's nerve-wracking. It's exciting. It's like I liken it to surfing.
Okay.
Where at any second it's thrilling and you might die.
Oh, okay.
Might crash and burn. Yeah. But I like that.
The actual art of composing specifically for TV is becoming a harder thing to do now, because first of all, I don't think half the time people know that used to be you get the idea and then you try and find the music, the way and the right sort of music to make the idea work. Now it's about finding the piece of music and then trying to make something to go around it that works.
We've seen on the narrative side just how competitive this world of television is now. Everyone is upping the ante in terms of content. Do you see that in the music industry as well?
Not my experience. I think what we do is collaborate more, actually, because composers come from so many different places these days. We actually can connect through internet. So it's more about a friendly way of making better music than competing against each other. That's how I feel about it.
Also, it seems like there's more and more production happening, but I don't know if the growth has been as exponential in terms of composers.
Okay.
It's a really specialized, particular kind of a job that you have to be a certain kind of crazy to want to do. And so I don't know. And I agree with you. I find that I'm collaborating more with different composers and friends, and it's really fun. It's a little bit harkens back to my band days a little bit, but it's more adult and sane.
You've gone on to compose score for the new series Wet Hot American Summer 10 years later, and you've had a long history with David Wayne. What's your collaboration like?
Well, David and I have been working together. We've been best friends since the age of 2 or 3 or 4 or something. He's been making ridiculous videos of himself since about age 9. He had a whole little production facility in his basement because his father was in radio in Cleveland in the 70s, which is where we grew up. And so there was a drum kit and a little reel-to-reel tape machine and some guitars and his mother's old wigs. And so I was always making music, and he would make videos for my bands when I was 12 and 13 and 14 years old. And he was always making comedy. And then we went to NYU together, and I just started composing music for his student films and all of our friends' student films.
I have to ask you about one scene really quickly. Okay. You had to create a fake coffee shop grunge performance for Chris Pine and Jason Schwartzman.
Yes.
Does David just give you the idea and you run with it, or how does that work?
Well, we've been talking about music, David and I, since we were kids. And so there's this kind of ongoing conversation with whatever project we're involved in. And it seemed clear that there needed to be this sort of, it's not really a grunge band, it's sort of more of, in the early 90s, there was this kind of jam band thing, kind of Spin Doctors, Blues Traveler vibe, which was not my trip at the time. And so it seemed like it wasn't my style. Yeah. So it seemed important that I that he torture me by assigning me that for this.
Michelle, Craig talked about how he made this seamless transition, and this is basically how you fund your life now, Craig. How lucrative can this business be for artists?
I think it can be, but it's not as easy as I think people think it is. It's not just a case of, right, here you go, this is it, oh, that's it, thank you very much and goodbye. First of all, I think music, to be a composer for anything that is linked to a picture, be it commercials or be it TV or be it a film, you have to have an understanding of what's happening within the film. You have to be able to really vibe with your director or the creatives or who, to understand what they are wanting. It's not just a case of, well, here's a piece of music you put on and off you go. And sometimes people find, I think, with music, they find it incredibly difficult to explain what they really want. And I think it's the art of doing what I do, which is producing for the medium that I work in. You have to be a real translator of people's words to understand what they really want and but sometimes what they say they want isn't actually what they really want at all.
Because you can have someone say, you know, I want it to sound like Kanye with some Bowie in there and a little bit of Rihanna, and you're like, what does that mean exactly?
Yes, I think it is. People do mix their metaphors up as well, and you kind of go like, really? Like that and that just don't gel. And
Peter, you're laughing in recognition. Why?
Well, that happens a lot.
So how do you go about deciphering what they really want versus what they say they want?
Well, a lot depends on the budget when it comes to film, especially, because you can get what you want if you know how to do it and if you have enough to do it. But but my experience is that I do get to do things like, let's do something like John Williams, or let's do something like Danny Elfman, and you have to listen to the director and kind of go there, still keeping your own idea of having your own style and however you do it.
I think it's good when a director or a client or a creative or whoever is in charge of the purse strings, at the end of the day who's going to be paying for you, understands that there is only so much can you go to that point. When you go past that point, you are actually infringing on somebody else's copyright.
Legal issues, right.
And you have to be able to, I always say to my young composers, when somebody says, we want, you have to, when you've written it, you have to step back and say, if I had written that other piece of music and I heard this piece of music, would I sue me?
Would I sue me?
And if you would sue you, then it's too close.
Right.
The thing is that we also deal with temp music, which is stuff in film especially, when directors and editors and producers get used to temp music, which is actually somebody else's music, usually famous composer's music. And they don't see the scene or the cue in any other way but that type of music.
That's why they use Hans Zimmer and everything, because he can just
exactly.
He can
just
still
repeat himself. Plus, he has all the boys working for him.
You guys, thanks so much for being here. This conversation has been music to my ears. That was for you, Chris. That's for you. Sounded awesome, right? We'll be right back, everyone. We asked Difficult People star Julie Klausner to swing by recently and show some love for her co-stars, and she had no difficulty playing ball. Take a look.
Hey, I'm Julie Klausner. I'm the creator of Difficult People. This show has an awesome cast, and I'm going to tell you why they're so great in a segment called Co-Star Crush. Billy Eichner is a friend, a lover.
I've been so drunk for the last 5 years I haven't written a joke.
Billy's the greatest. I can hear his voice in my head when I write for him, which is actually really nice. It's chemistry, baby. Andrea Martin is my hero. I grew up watching SCTV.
This article says it is a great time now for women in comedy.
That's very helpful. Thanks, Mom. The other thing about Andrea is that she's so authentic and truthful that I really do believe she's my mom when I'm acting in scenes with her, which makes things easier for me because I'm not as good of an actor as she is. James Urbaniak, there was no one else who was going to be able to play that boyfriend character.
Arthur, I hate the word curvy. Don't say curvy.
Womanly.
Well, that makes me sound like Tyne Daly.
And he works hard at it, like I said. He's reminded me of that. He's like, I worked hard on it. I'm like, all right, James, I know. You have to pretend to have sex with me. It's very challenging, I know. Cola Scola is the funniest person I know.
Quarter past, you're not invited.
You are everything.
Cole is also so fun to watch on camera because he really is like our Kramer, our gay Kramer, our gamer. Shakina Nafak is a true breakout star of the show.
Lola. And yeah, I'm trans.
Oh, okay.
And she also is a great example of a trans character, if I may say so, on television, who is revolutionary, not just by the fact of her visibility, but just because she's super funny and she's as awful as everybody else is in that world of the show.
I am over you hot actor types.
John Cho plays Billy's boyfriend this season. We didn't want to soften Billy, so we made sure to pair him up with a guy that was also as much of a dick as Billy and I are on the show. John Turturro is so wonderfully weird on the show. His sex vibes are from another era, and he just adds this flavor like nothing else on the show.
I'm gonna stop you right there. But actually, I have more to say. Actually, no, you don't.
Lucy Liu plays a alpha female book editor with no scruples whatsoever. She's also, this is gonna blow your mind, stunningly beautiful, it turns out.
Pixie stick porn.
Chris Elliott is so funny that I want to throw up just thinking about him. Plays a doormat submissive. If you want to Google that, you're welcome to. Nobody plays crazy or goofy like Chris Elliott or intense like Chris Elliott.
Oh, idiot! My God, you're a grown man on a bike!
To see how awesome these people are, watch season 3 of Difficult People, new episodes Tuesdays, streaming only on Hulu.
That's our show. Thanks to all my guests. Don't forget to grab the fall movie preview issue of Entertainment Weekly on newsstands now and at EW.com. Bye.